Oh dear. Hello again team, it's Jess or JashiiCorrin and welcome back for another weekly plan with me. As you can see, this week didn't really get used, so we're just going to jump straight on into setting up for next week. Honestly, today's setup isn't going to be a long one. As I mentioned on the community tab the other day, I'm really just not feeling it. But hopefully my super simple layout for this week will get me back on track with getting things done. In terms of the questions that were left on last week's video, our first two questions come from Tammy and Daphne. Tammy asked, when is your South Korea trip? Whereas Daphne asked, just a general question, how is your brother doing? I hope he's well with the virus and all. So if you guys have been keeping up with my weekly vlogs, you'll know that our Korea trip has been cancelled, and instead Vogel and I are going to be going to Queenstown. It's a real bummer that it's been cancelled. I was really looking forward to seeing my brother and also going to see a new country as well. But with everything that's happening in the world at the moment, it just wasn't actually going to be a possibility. Thankfully, my brother's been doing well. From my understanding, his school isn't running sessions, so he doesn't really have any work to do. I don't believe he watches these videos, so he probably can't correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I've heard, he's still doing okay, even though things are a little scary at the moment. Our next question comes from Marloose, who asked, what are your go-to Tombow dual brush colours usually? I'd have to say that my favourites are those rainbow colours that I like to use, so that's pink 755, orange 933, yellow 025, green 195, blue 515, and purple 665. These are the pens that I typically like to use together anytime that I'm filling out things like my timetable, because all of my classes get colour-coded with those things. They're also the main colour code that I use for my goals and the ones that I use for my future log. Our next question comes from Camo Crafts, who asked, do you know of any monthly sub planner/bujo boxes in New Zealand? I have some serious FOMO going on, but shipping from the US is just too insane. Personally, I don't, only because I know with these kind of subscription boxes, I get sucked in so easily. To me, I kind of treat subscription boxes like a lucky dip, and I love lucky dips. I like all the excitement that goes with opening it up and seeing all the stuff that's in there, but at the same time, I know that a lot of it isn't going to be things that I really want or need or will end up using. That's just for me personally, so I've kind of avoided the whole subscription box thing. If anybody does know of any subscription boxes that come to New Zealand though, if you want to drop them in the comments so that we can help Camo Crafts out, that would be really helpful. Sorry that I couldn't be more helpful here. Our question from Jennifer is, my question for you this week is, how did you decide to become a teacher? Were there other careers that you thought of pursuing? What is Vogel's career? So we'll start with the last one. Vogel works as a patent examiner, so essentially telling people if their invention is inventy enough, and thus determining whether people are actually going to be allowed a patent for their inventions. Personally, I've just wanted to be a teacher for a really long time. Originally, I wanted to be a maths teacher, because I always kind of saw maths as a dry subject, but one that I had a lot of enjoyment for. So I wanted to bring my enjoyment of maths to other people. Of course, that didn't quite end up. I am a science teacher instead. And honestly, I think it's probably a lot easier to get people excited about science than it typically is to get them excited about maths. That's no hate towards maths. I still really like maths. In terms of other careers that I thought of pursuing, most of them were just musings, but I think I always toyed with the idea of becoming something like an events coordinator or a party planner or something like that, just because I have a lot of enjoyment in that area. Our next question comes from Butterflynares, who asked, does Vaughn also bullet journal? If not, how does he keep track of appointments and events? And how do you two sync up to divide chores, finances, and such?
So I do bullet journal, but that's not how I keep track of appointments and events. I use a standard journal that I bought at bookstore, and it works for the most part. I need something that's essentially really lazy for keeping track of stuff, so I don't want to draw things up. I use the bullet journal more to keep track of longer term goals, so things we need to do in the house, things I need to do on my car, sad foods that I would love to eat but I'm not allowed to eat because of my diet. those kind of things.
In terms of the chores, those ones are already divided up, so I have a list of chores that I do each week and Vogel has his own list. For our finances, we have our budgeting night on Tuesdays, so that's when we log all of our spending for the past week, pay any bills that we need to pay, and figure out if anybody owes anybody else any money. Previously, we had a Google Calendar that we shared, but we're both now more in analog systems, so we don't use it anymore. Our last question comes from the Ilwin, who asked, do you celebrate Easter? Celebrate is a strong word. I observe Easter, in the sense that I take the time off that everybody gets for it. Previously, I've done things like give chocolate to family and friends, but outside of that, not a lot of real celebration happens. As you mentioned in your comment, it is kind of funny celebrating the idea of rebirth in the middle of autumn, where everything is kind of dying off and trees are losing their leaves and all of that kind of stuff. As always, thank you for your questions, team. If anybody had a question they wanted answered in next week's Plan With Me, please do leave those in the comment section as well. Alrighty, well, as you can see, we just have a 2-page running list for next week. I've written out almost a page of tasks that I know I need to get done next week, and left myself this page blank for any more that might come up. I know this is a lot shorter and simpler compared to usual, but thank you for watching, team. If you liked today's video, please do make sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you wanted to see more from me, feel free to go check out one of my other videos. Until next time, bye!